Hello there, yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my happy place, the Yarn Corner here on the west coast of Canada. How are you all doing? I hope you're well and staying safe on this early evening Wednesday, June the 4th, 2025. I just finished work and I love this about summer. In the Northern Hemisphere, we have longer days, so we have daylight, which is awesome. It feels like I can do some recording and it's wonderful. So I hope you're doing well and happy Pride Month. I can't believe that this year is flying by and we're already sitting in the middle of the year. Yeah, wow. If you're happening across this channel for the very first time, I've set this channel up to talk about all of my yarny adventures. That's in knitting, crocheting, as well as I talk about my acquisitions where I purchase my yarn and tools of my craft. So if that's of interest, then please stick around. And for those who are returning, I want to say welcome back. Thank you so much for supporting and always watching the videos. And the commenters from the last video, thank you so much. It was very inspirational to read. It was all to do, my last episode, with me showing my reaction to a good friend here on the YouTube streets yarn collection. So that is Crystal over at Bag O' Day has brought out the Bag O' Day tonal hues in collaboration with Mary Maxim, and I absolutely love the yarn. So the comments inspired me to look at different patterns and, you know, consider colors that I'm going to blend together in the collection. And yeah, I want to say thank you, because not only do I read these comments and get inspired, but others who watch the channel go down there as well and they read what other patterns other people are working on. So I think it's a great connectivity of sharing information. So thank you. Keep the comments coming. Yeah, so in this mix match of different things that I'm going to be talking about in this episode will be finished objects, works in progress. I will talk about some updates on whips, and which is works in progress, and towards the end I will give you some life updates in the community here. Nothing too kind of like in depth, just a little bit of sprinkling, but I'll keep that towards the end, so all the yarny goodies will be up front. So let's get started, shall we? The first thing I want to talk about is this piece that Hank, my man form, is wearing, and it is a crocheted shawl. It is in answer to a mood board mail that I'm hosting currently, so I'll be talking about that as well. Okay, I found the pattern. You know when you put something in front of your nose and you think this is where I'll leave it so that I can find it easy, and then you have that glazed vision that doesn't see or scan things that are right there in front. So anyway, I had to turn the camera off and sure enough, there it was. Yeah, it's the Opera Act 3 crocheted pattern by the design group Yaga. I purchased this from Ravelry, and all patterns, YouTubers that I might mention, and any special things that you're interested in finding out more information on will be down in the description box. So do go down there if you are looking for connecting to something that's more focused, and you can get more information about it. So yeah, it is a heavily charted pattern. I bought it in a bundle from Ravelry, and it came, I think this one came with 3 or 5. I can't quite remember because there were a couple of bundles that I purchased at the same time. I absolutely love this pattern. So the yarn that I used was Hobbies yarn, and it was the Dahlia, which is 100% cotton. Somewhere sits between a sport weight fingering weight, and there are 4 separate strands. The hook size that I used was 3mm, and it was a Susan Bates full metal hook. One I like using because the recess of it, where it captures the yarn, is a little softer and not so sharp. And I find that that hook is great for like when I'm clearing a loop or going through a loop. I'm not catching on any other fibers, or rarely do. So that's a nice hook that I like using when the strands are all separated. The color of the Dahlia cakes, I used 2 of them, was called Chocolate Rose, and aptly named because it does go from a pinky rose color into these burnt brown dark chocolate colors, and then back out to the pink color. So I used the start of the interior of the first cake from the light to the dark on the outside, and then on the second cake I reversed it and went dark to the interior where the light color was. And I had maybe, I think in the end it was like 30 grams left over of the final second cake. So this pattern did use more yarn than it suggested in the pattern itself. So I was always, because my third Yaga now that I did, and I'm a loose crocheter, so I would advise, if you do pick up this and you are a loose crocheter, to have yourself about 600 meters extra to what is said in the design. Otherwise you can always shorten the design pattern repeat to make sure that you have enough yarn. But I wanted to not do a nice big one, and I used a little extra than what the pattern said. In addition, I should talk to you about what the mood board mail is all about. Just briefly, I know that I have the guideline video down below, but for those who are just watching and don't really feel the need to go to watch the guideline video, so this mood board that I created for this piece was all to do with a special song, my favorite song, or one of my favorite songs, because I have many, and it's from Mazzy Star. I requested that people make their mood board up on their favorite song, choose a lyric, put it down on their mood board, and choose images that enhance the feelings that are evoked within yourself when you are describing that one lyric that is inside of the song. So maybe Editing Gary can put up my mood board here just so that you get an idea of what it is and how it relates to the piece, because it was a catalyst to choosing the yarn and the pattern that you're seeing here. Okay, so maybe over here. This is the mood board that I put together for one of my favorite songs, Mazzy Star, Fade Into You. The line in the lyric that I chose was Strange You Never Knew. If you've heard that song before, you know that the singer from Mazzy Star has this haunting baby doll kind of sliding scale voice, and I wanted to capture that. Now, I believe Mazzy Star, the band, is from southern parts of the US. So when I'm getting the images, I see lots of dry deserts. I see the tumbleweeds. I see maybe abandoned structures, something in a desolate landscape. And those are the types of images that are in my mood board. So hence the colors that I chose was the kind of earthy, dusty rose with the chocolatey browns from maybe stained, weathered materials that have been left out in the sun. And when I was picking my color, hopefully that mood board's gone, these are the ones that I chose for my piece. And I did like the lacy quality because it does give me that haunting voice that the singer from Mazzy Star has. It will go on until June 15th, 2025, which is around 11 days left. So this is kind of like a last call for submitting your entries. And if you are just now coming across it and you're watching this video when I post it early June, and you know that you've only got like a few days left, and you want to join, you could do something small. I've already received some entrants, and I absolutely am staggered in the exquisiteness of the wonderful works that people have made. If you are wanting to get involved, I will include the guideline video down below, which I think it was in late April or sometime that I kind of aired for the call to action. So I'll include that down below, and if you're interested, you can go across and take a look. There will be a slideshow presentation which will happen after the close of the mail, sometime I would say leading up to the 20th of June 2025. That slideshow will come out, and I'm just eager to show everyone. I hope you can't hear my stomach grumbling. There is a bit of a prize as well, so if you are entering, you'll need to send me the photographs to my email account, which is urbanyarn101@gmail.com, and I will do a lucky random winner. One winner will get this little bear that I crocheted up. It has a little tag that you can take off if you don't like that tag, but I'm leaving it on because then you can clip it onto a bag if you wish, or hang it off something, and this bear can come around with you wherever you go. Yeah, it has the made by Urban Yarn tag on it, so a little bit of fun prize there. It is open worldwide, so whoever is the lucky random picker, because I'm going to put it in a bag or a bowl and just draw out the name, I will ship it to you. But if there are any costs like duties involved, or I don't think there will be because it'll be sent as a gift, but if there's anything incurred as cost on the entry of your country, then you'll have to look after those yourself. But you'll have to give this bear its name as well. So yeah, the pattern that I followed for this is from Herr Wolle, and it's called Albert the Bear. I just used some safety eyes and a safety nose, so they're the things that aren't yarn in this pattern, and also the tag. But yeah, some lucky winner will get the lucky bear. Yeah, so now moving on to finished objects. I know it's what I'm wearing. I am in love with this make. It feels incredibly soft against my skin, and it is 100% cashmere yarn. This is a yarn that was hand dyed by Keith, and he has a yarn dyeing business called Yarn Snob, and the yarn itself was gifted to me by Crystal over a bag a day. Crystal, I absolutely love this yarn. It's so dreamy and soft. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful yarn. It is DK weight yarn, but I would say on the lighter side of DK, with that halo as well that comes off the cashmere. I treated it like a DK weight, and I have not yet blocked it or given it a wet wash or anything like that. So I think that these stitches will relax and fill out nicely. Right now it's just my raw stitches that you're seeing without any, like, I guess, blocking or water, putting water on it. Excuse me. So I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. So I'll talk to you about the pattern, some alterations that I made, and then I'll cut into some closer up images of it, me wearing it, so that you can see it in daylight. Because right now you're just seeing it in, well, it is daylight coming into the window, but you're not seeing all of it. So I will clip those in towards the latter part of my description of this garment. So, okay. The project was housed in this wonderful project bag that Edith sent me, and it was big enough to do 12 55-gram hanks, and the pattern and notions and everything, stitches and the actual work when I was working on it, it all fit into this great bucket bag. It's a drawstring bag with a box bottom, and it has a hard cardboard piece at the bottom, so it stands up and you can work directly out of the project bag, which is amazing. Love the bag. The pattern that I used is this one here. It's the Pemberton pullover. It was published by, I think it was Blue Sky Fibers, because that's the yarn that was used in these samples here. If you want to take a closer look, the designer is Bobby Intveld. Now, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sizes, from the X small, extra small, or the 5XL. So I think it covers a great span of choices that you can make. Great for me because my knitting swatch gauge was slightly off kilter from what it is these ratings were, and that was because my tension, but also the yarn was a different yarn size or thickness than what the pattern called for. So when I was doing mine, I was actually getting more stitches per gauge inch, or 4 inches, and I had to make, but I liked the fabric that those stitches and the needles were making. So I went down a size in needles, got more stitches because I preferred that fabric, and I had to go up in size choice from the pattern. So I did the XL, and it gave me a somewhere between a medium and a large, and it's exactly what I wanted, because I wanted to have 2 inches, well, 4 inches of positive ease, and that was 2 inches all the way around. So it's not sort of like strangling my chest, or open, the stitches aren't sort of spread out super tight. It's draped nicely. The seam here where the sleeve starts is exactly where I wanted it, and that's where Hank came into amazing use. Because of the pattern itself, I had to add more rows between the 2 panels up here across the shoulder. So where it seams together, I added in extra length so that I could get the fit that I wanted. That, if you didn't have like a form, you would have to try that on continually to get that measurement correct. And it was different from what was described in the pattern for me to do. Yeah. Okay, so how much yarn did I use? I used 9? No, I used 8 55-gram hanks of the Yarn Snobs yarn, and I had a little bit left over, not too much, maybe about 20 grams from the 8 hanks, and that equated to, each 55-gram gave me 199 yards, say 200 yards, or 182 meters if you work in metric. So 8 200s is 1,600 yards were used. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. 1,600 yards, because I used 8 of them, and I have 4 left over, with plenty of yarn to do a cowl if I want, or a whole shawl. I think it's going to be amazing. Maybe I would like to try and crochet with it, just to get a feel of what the fabric would turn out like in crochet. But with knitting, chef's kiss. It's beautiful, and it's so very light. The other things that I altered with the pattern itself was around here where it asks to pick up stitches. Once the panels are all sewn together, you've got to do the neck part, and I noticed that the my selvage stitch, or the edge stitch that is used for binding, was kind of really loose. I'm not a very tight knitter as well as crocheter, so I had to go in 1 extra row where the stitches were a little bit more solidified and more structure, so I could then pick up stitches. But not only did I do that, where I had to pick up stitches, I crocheted a slip stitch in the areas where I was going up along rows, and then I picked up my stitch from the slip stitch instead of the actual panel itself. And that, to me, made more of a construction rigidity of the panels, so that there wouldn't be pulling on the actual panel itself. It'd be pulling on like an in-between part, which would be that slip stitch crochet. So I just did it in certain areas. Some of them were already live stitches here, or not live stitches, but tops of stitches, like the row of stitches, so that didn't need it. But like jumping from row to row, I chose to do a single crochet, and it turned out really neat. I don't know whether you can see that, just along here, and it helped with reinforcing that there wouldn't be any sort of pulling or dragging on the rows themselves, but it had that in-between buffer. So it was like more of the sides and the back there was a number of rows that I did the crochet on. What else can I tell you that was different? I think the rest of it was pretty much following pattern, just the added stitches here and that crochet reinforcement. Okay, so I'll cut now to the footage of me showing it in the daylight so you can see what the garment looks like, and these wonderful pearl bumps. You see it now actually quite nicely, but there's different panels, or there's different areas or sections where there's different patterns, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so next work in progress that I'm working on is in answer to a campaign that Hobby invited me to join in on, and it's called #Hobby Light and Breezy. It's all yarn that they had generously gifted to the channel, or sponsored the yarn for, and said you can talk about like lighter fabrics or garments that you're making for the summer months when the weather's warmer, and test out, you know, what the yarn does and what's good for the yarn during, you know, pattern kind of pairing and all that sort of wonderful stuff. So I did showcase this in the last episode of catch-ups, and my marker tells me I had only done, I think, 8 rows in the beginning, and that's where the marker is up here, right there. So I've done the rest here, which is it's an actual repeat of all the sections. And now, or not the repeat, but it's one full like go through in the pattern, and now I'm on the repeat section. So I have just started my second round of repeats. I absolutely love this. So the yarn that I use and then the pattern, I'm finding it's very airy, it's quite nice and drapey, and it's crochet. The yarn I'm using, I have this much left of 100 grams, and I would say that's probably around maybe about 15 grams left of the ball, and I've worked up the full repeat. The color is called Curry, and that one is a Hobby Twister Solid. That's it there. It is 55% cotton and 45% acrylic. I'm using a 3mm crochet hook. It's kind of like the smallest hook that I've used for a shawl pattern like this. I gave up on the 3.5 because this yarn has a bit of a spring to it. So I was finding that because I'm such a loose crocheter, that the stitches were looking sloppy. They weren't looking as tight as they generally do with 100% cotton. But with this bouncier yarn, it was like elongating my stitches. So I was wanting to go down a size in hook. So I went to a 3mm, and I'm using a prim hook. And in case, I know all the brands in hooks have a variety of different styles of handles and different finishes, but I'm using this one here. It has an ergonomic handle, and I think it's plastic. It feels plastic to me, but I don't know whether it's a type of plastic that's different. There's all types of different synthetic material, but that's my prim hook that I'm using. 3mm. I am now going to join after the last bit of that cake is done, this one. I'm going to join in this color here, which is their hobby twister as well. And this colorway is called Spice Kick. If you're looking for the number, it's color number 53. So thank you, Hobby, for sending me this. Now the twisters do have their yarn plied together, so it's twisted together. There's not separate strands like the yarn here called the Dahlia, and I like that because it makes it easier to use. With that extra acrylic in this cake, as I mentioned, it is a bit bouncier and it's shiny, so it does give a bit of a sheen to it, so there's a reflection of light and it gives it a nice kind of glossy finish. So I've got that. And the nice thing about twisters and twister solids is that the cakes are made up of colors, and you can buy 100 grams in the solid color of the start or the end, so you can add in more pattern. And now, because I know that I need more yarn than general of the pattern that I use from Yaga, which this one's a Yaga pattern as well, I have chosen to add on a couple of colors, the curry one being the first one. And then when I work through this cake, I've got another 100 grams of the solid twister in this burgundy colorway, and that's all just in case I need it. So that will be towards the end of the pattern when I get to it. So this burgundy color is called 117. I don't know what name it uses. It might be something like wine or Bordeaux or something like that, Merlot, some type of wine influenced name. But yeah, I really am enjoying it, and I'm housing it right now. It's fitting in, but I think I have to size the bag up later on in a Billy bag. So this is a bag that was gifted to me, and thank you for this gift. It's wonderful. It's a drawstring bag. It has a little strap that you can put on your arm if you want to go around, walking around, working on your crochet or your knitting. And it's by a YouTuber here, crafter, and a content creator, and that is Miss Billy from the Crafty Floridian. So thank you, Billy, for that bag, and thank you, the gift giver, for sending it my way. It's got ceramic designs on the fabric. Yeah. Again, one last look before I put it in the bag for working on and giving more love in the next little bit. That's it there. Oh, I didn't give you the pattern name. It's from Yaga as well, and it's called the Novela Tom 2. Little different in patterns, and I remember last time I was, that's it there, Novela Tom 2. I was mentioning as the difference between this one back here and this one, I'm seeing a lot more circular motion in the Novela Tom 2. The motion that I'm seeing in the back one, which is on Hank, the opera, is more of teardrops or like diamond shape movement in the pattern. This one has more rounded hoopy things. Like look at this one here. It goes all the way around and goes there as well. So more circular, and I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so more love on that one and more to come, but that's in answer to my hobby campaign that they invited me to, the hashtag hobby light and breezy. Okay, the next one that I'm working on is up there. I'm just going to stop the camera so I can grab it. Okay, so this you've seen a few times, and you've been witness along the way at different stages from the beginning until now. I still have a lot to work on it, but I did put another cake and a half of material into it. So lots of yarn, lots of stitch time, and it's been a wonderful delight. So it is, the pattern that I'm working on is from BebaBlanket, and it's their pattern called the Cozy Cuddles Mosaic Crochet Blanket. And here it is here. Da, 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 da. I was just finishing up this ziggy-zaggy part on the crochet, and it's worked in the rounds. You always have it facing the same way, so face up, and you work round and around and around, which is really nice because I'm not having to cut the yarn. I just have to cut it when I'm changing the color, and I'm not going to carry color through or for a while, so that's the only cut that I make. But this is all the new part here. It's 2.5 inches, possibly 3 inches, all the way around, and it's used up another one of the Premier Everyday Anti-Peeling Gradient Cakes, the worsted one. I can't believe that that part there has used up one whole cake. So you can imagine how heavy this is going to be once I get some width and length onto it. But absolutely love this pattern. It starts off in the center here, and you have your foundation chain right there in the middle where that sort of purpley color is, and then you work around establishing your corners, and then you go through the pattern that is set up in its chart form, so it's in like a graphic chart, and tells you how to do it. And I actually found a helpful tutorial when I first started, which I'll include down below in the description box. It runs through how to read the chart and what the stitches are. I find the hardest bit for me to have learned was the corner, and also the joining corner being the added extra difficulty. So that video did help me out a lot. So yeah, I absolutely love it. Yep. Right now, I measured it, what was it? This part here is probably around, I'm going to guess, almost 48 inches, so almost 4 feet. And then the smaller part here is just over 3 feet. So I'm actually going to guess a little shorter than 3 feet, so maybe 32 inches. Right now, it's almost a lap size blanket, but I'm going to try and get it to more of a throw that will go down in the lounge room, where I can put it on a chair, and that way it sort of protects the chair as well from you know, Pixel. If she jumps on it, she can kind of like, her nails are quite long, so this will be a nice protecting blanket, as well as provide some warmth if we're watching movies. Okay, so the hook, the size that I'm using is a 4mm. Yes, it's a 4mm hook, crochet hook. And just to let you see the blanket pattern, that's it there, from BebaBlanket, Cozy Mosaic Cuddles. And the nice thing about this is that you can repeat the steps over again. So as you saw, that they're going through different series of patterns, but now I'm at the end of the last squiggly line, and then I go back into the center and I work the pattern charts again through. So I think I might have to do a half another set, and then it'll be at the right size that I want. So more yet to come. The yarn that I'm using, okay, it's all in this box that I purchased from, I think, Walmart. They had these boxes that are nice and sturdy, they're rigid, and they hold all the yarn for this project, which is awesome. I have used this yarn, it's Pound of Love, 100% acrylic. It's in a 4-weight, but I would consider it quite a thin 4-weight. And this colorway is called Charcoal. I just completed one whole cake of the Everyday Anti-Peeling in the gradient, the colorway called Violet, I think, or is it purple? It's called Purple Tones. So I've done one whole cake and this is my second one that I'm adding in. Until I get to a point where I feel, yep, I want to change it back out. Then I'm going to flip it to my last cake here, which is my gradient anti-peeling everyday worsted from Premier in the black tones. So I'll use that one to wrap it up, and some of this if I need to go more into the black. The color that I'm using that is bouncing off of the blanket pattern is a few cakes of Lion Brand Mandala, and in the colorway Andorian. So that's where you'll get to see some other purples, you'll get to see some pinks, some orange, and some kind of like almost is it mauve? It's probably mauve, halfway between pink and red, or purple and red is a mauvey color. Oh, this one here, maybe that's pink. Yeah, it's pink. And I'm adding in a few extras because I want to get further down the way with this, and I'm using right now Red Heart. This is the Unforgettable. They classify this a 4 worsted, but it's kind of thin. It's more like a 3, slightly roving, and I'm using it because I love green and I want to put some green in this blanket. So that's what I'm on right now, some green. Those are the yarns that I'm using, and I like that there are different thicknesses, because in some instances where the yarn is a worsted and one is a 3, you'll find that the worsted, more plumpier yarn takes the forefront and the backwash color is more receding into the fabric, and the shiny and dull is also playing its role to make this work really interesting. So when the light catches it, you'll see some shiny bits and some dull bits. Yeah, one more time. Here it is here. Da, 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 da. I wonder if I can show you what I mean with the shiny bits. Like in here, the shiny bits are the gray, and then the matte is the purple. And then out here, I've changed it to the purple being the shiny bits, and then the matte bits being the colored parts going in the background. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to talk to you about is a new work that I put on the knitting needles, and this is all to do with the yarn. I think it's a little bit of the pattern as well, but mostly the yarn I wanted to try and use. So I'll start with, I guess, the yarn that I'm talking about. I'm housing it in this drawstring bag here, and it has lovely little chocolates. It was a gift from Rose Likes Crochet. Hi, Rose. And this bag was made by Deb at the Canadian Crocheter. I'll include all their channels down below as well. The yarn that I really wanted to work with is, there's 2 of them actually. This one here was a gift from Edith, and a generous gift of, I think, maybe 11 donut balls of yarn in this colorway, and it's the Lana Grossa Puno Dew, and the color is 005 in this kind of burnt orangey brown color. I love this color. And it is classified a, I don't think it has a classification on size, but it's 63% cotton and 37% alpaca, baby alpaca. This is, I'm sort of treating it like a 3-weight yarn, actually a sport weight yarn, because I'm holding it double to make it a 3-weight yarn, if that makes sense. And I'm doing my sampling of it. Now I'm going to be mixing 2 colors with it, And this is doing color work, not holding it together, but doing color work. And this is one that I received from a co-worker, friend, family member. So this came, I believe, all the way from England, because it does have pounds on the price tag. And it's this green yarn, which I absolutely love. And this is the, what I can read of it, I think it's called Symphony. There's a big tag across it, Symphony yarn. And this one is in the color 938. What can I tell you? It's 35% mohair, 45% wool, 20% acrylic. And there are 50 grams in this as well. Now, this one is a little thicker than the Lana Grossa, so I'm keeping this one single. I'm not doubling up on this one, but I love the color. And lastly, the third color that I'm working on with is this one here, which was a gift by Karen. I had some of this from Knit Crate, which was a company that would be a subscription base. For every month they would send, I think it was like 2 hanks of a specialty yarn, and they always delighted me every time I received one. And I got 2 of these, but I wanted to make something bigger, and there it sat for a while. And then our friend Karen said, I have that color that you want. Would you like me to share that with you? And I said, sure, then I can make a bigger project. So I have now, I think, 6 of these in this color. I absolutely love it. It's called Vidalana Oasis by Knit Crate, and the color is called Tuscan, and it is 50% alpaca, 25% Peruvian Highland wool, a merino wool blend, and 25% Suri alpaca. So there are 2 types of alpaca in this yarn. It's delightfully soft, and I absolutely love the color. Yeah. And they're considering this to be a, does it give me details on? No, they're just saying a 3.5 to 4 millimeter knitting needle or a 4.5 to 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So I'm going to say they're saying treat it like a 3-weight, but when you look at the thickness of that, to me that looks more like a sport weight yarn. Generally, sometimes you can tell by how many yards are in here. So I am getting 230 meters or 252 yards. So yeah, I'm going to say it's a DK weight. So I may have to hold this separate as well, or together double-stranded. All right, so that's the yarn. And shall I tell you my thoughts on the project that I want to make? Now, this is a 2-step project that I need to do because the yarn is not fitting in with what I want for the pattern that I chose. So it's called the Fjord Sweater, or the Fjord Jumper. It's by the designer called Wei Chen Chan, and it's in this book here called Arctic Knits. This was a gift from Edith as well. I wanted to do the pattern work here on the jumper that you see, but because my yarn is different, and I know that because of the number of stitches that they're using just for the circumference of the body width, way too many stitches. So I know that my yarn's going to be a bit thicker. And I'm doing the hat, which is a way of finding out the true definition of what it is that that I need to do for the jumper. So I'm dedicating some time to make the hat using all of the same motifs, the color work, and also the number of stitches, just to get the measurement and find out where I will sit with the measurement of this sweater. So I'm seeing here there are 10 sizes in this pattern, and I have a feeling I need to do this very smallest size to get the size that I require here for my chest circumference. It might be the very smallest or the next one up, but I think it's the very smallest that I need to do. And the hat will help me make that decision on what I should be doing, or if I need to cut out maybe one of the repeats on the pattern across, which will throw everything off, because then the holes will be different, and the inset with I think it's a top-down sweater, so maybe the insets won't really matter too much, because the sleeves are kind of like a pick-up sleeves, or when you split for the sleeves working top down, you only have the holes to worry about, so there's no kind of inner seam going on. But here I am. I started the hat pattern, and this is the green that I'm using, and then this beautiful burnt orange tan color, almost a camel color, and I am absolutely in love with this yarn. It's so delicious and beautiful. I'm holding the tan color double, and I'm letting the green and the Tuscan color be single strand. And I'm going to work my colors in sections. So the first band of color work will be in the bottle green, and then the second color work collection will be in the red, the brown red, like I think it was called Tuscan. And then I'll go back to the green, and then I'll go back to the brown. That will give me a good indication as well on if I want to omit one of the colors from the sweater itself, or if I prefer one over the other, or if I like using both. So yeah, it's a little bit of a test, and I'll be back to report more on it. Yeah, so I'm doing the smallest hat size. I think there's like 3 hat sizes, and I'm doing the smaller one. It's looking like it might be a bit too big, even with the needles that I've chosen. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to clear up all around me here so that I can create some more space, and then I'll go into my next thing, which will be more of the catch-up, and there might be some yarn included in this little talk, so if you want to stick around for that, that's great. If not, then thank you for joining me this long, and I'll be back just to catch you up on what's been going on. All right, so I'm back, and I want to start this section off on the podcast with a special thank you to a few viewers out there who have surprised me with amazing support in some way or another. And these are 2 individuals that I will keep anonymous because I haven't gotten the permission. Actually, one said they prefer just to be mentioned as a gift giver and not be named. So about 3 weeks ago, I received, maybe even a month ago, I received a gifted pattern waiting for me in Ravelry when I went in there once. And I was like, oh, I see there's been some interaction here. I don't check Ravelry's inbox very often. So there was a pattern there, a gifted pattern by the Red Teapot Atelier. No, they didn't give me the pattern, but it was the pattern that this person gifted me, and it was the Darjeeling shawl. It's a crochet pattern, and I just want to say thank you for that. I have new cakes that I have yet to do a video of, and I believe that pattern has been assigned one of the beautiful cakes, so that will be coming up in, that'll probably sit in my whip cart for a while because there are so many things, but I will get to it. The other thing that I want to mention is a very huge thank you to another supporter of the channel who surprised me with a PayPal donation. Now, this is never necessary, but in the instance where this person helped, they've done it twice, and I want to say thank you. I really appreciate that. The funds have already gone back into the channel because I purchased some yarn with it, and that was a very, very nice gesture indeed. Thank you so much. Okay, so Next, I'm going to move on to what's been going on in the community here. I'm looking down because I've written some notes and I've got to keep on point, otherwise I go off on tangents. We have movies and series that Chad and I have been watching. Chad's my husband. So I think these are worth mentioning. TV series that we finished watching was the final season of Handmaid's Tale. Now, I'm not going to be talking anything about the storyline because I don't want to give it away. People who know the Handmaid's Tale, they want to relish in the discovery themselves, so I don't want to set up any spoilers. But if you are inclined to watch something from, well, you have to go back like seasons ago. Maybe there's been 6 seasons right now, I can't quite recall, but they made us wait for a very long time for the final season to happen, but I'm glad I did. Should I tell you about how I felt after watching it and not so much the storyline? Well, if you don't want any spoilers on like how I felt when I watched it, then maybe turn it off because I don't want to like create any like expectation. But I was a little disappointed. Yeah, I was I really enjoyed every moment of the wrap up in the episodes leading up to the very last one, but the last one seemed, I don't know what it was. It was like I had questions, but I think maybe that's kind of the intention of some kind of ending as well, that there is questions to be answered still. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay, the next one is a new one, and it's only started recently. So it's a new series on TV, and it's called 4 Seasons. Now, it's not the hotel chain as initially what I thought it was, but when I started watching, I was like, oh, okay. So it's a series of couples that get together, they're close friends, and it's the dynamic between each individual character and how each couple relate to each other. So the dynamic is there, and it's very, they have set up funny scenarios. There's also some sort of more emotional parts as well, so it's not all leaning one-sided as in comedy all the time. It does, you know, meander between some more serious and more emotional drama quality. Yeah, so it is right now we're up to episode 2, season 1. We just finished that off and we're enjoying it. So the 4 seasons relates to these couples going through the seasons in time. So we just did a spring and we just started summer. I think the summer one will be next. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So if you're looking for something interesting to stitch away to, then I would suggest maybe trying 4 Seasons. The other one that I have here, it's kind of just an easy viewing type movie, has a bit of fantasy in it, it has a bit of adventure, some action. It's called The Fountain of Youth, and it follows similar strategy in storyline as Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not anywhere as great as Raiders of the Lost Ark, because the first one called I think is it called Temple of Doom? Oh no, it's called Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's what it is. It's that is a staple, a classic in my mind, and one to benchmark all other kind of fantasy adventures on. So this is trying to sort of simulate the style of viewing, and I enjoyed it. It was very lighthearted. The premise of the fantasy, or the myth, if you want to talk about the Fountain of Youth, it does use some grounds of maybe history, but really takes a leap of like its own dimension to it as well. Yeah, but I would suggest that might be a light-hearted action fantasy style of movie if you're interested in that type of genre. Okay, so Now, I'm going to chat a little bit about what I've been up to in the community here that I live in, and then some notes about Pixel, our puppy, because people do like getting a little update on my dog as well, or mine and Chad's dog. So this week has been bike week in the area that I live in. So, you know, they're suggesting to get out on your bike and leave the car at home. And I am happy to report that I purchased a bike, but I have not yet ridden the bike. It's all this kick that we've been trying to move around more so that we are, you know, physically feeling responsible in some way. And I will give you updates on whether the bike gets used or not. I'm hoping that I will use it. The next one has been Chad has started his exploration into golf. It's new to him, but he's picked it up and he's really going hard at watching videos that train technique and all that wonderful stuff. And he's gotten himself a little band of his co-workers that go out onto the range or the golf course. I don't even know what they call them, but they're doing circuits and they're doing like drills and all that sort of wonderful stuff at the drive. And we're lucky we have a few courses around that we can choose from. So I've been, I wouldn't say dragged, willingly participating in a few days when I go with them, and I played my very first game. I did a few like shots at just the small area where you can just hit the ball off into the field, and you know, you just bucket of balls, just keep going at it, try a different club and then go at it with that one. But this was the first time that I got on the course and I got myself a blister. Look, I don't know whether you can see that, but right there, like 3 or 4 swings on the course, and I think I might have been overzealous with my swing. So I rubbed off a layer of skin. It's not bad, it feels fine, but I was telling Chad, I don't want to damage my hands because my hands are what I use to make my crafting things. I actually walked a few of the holes, but I completed the nine holes. It was like half the course, and yeah, it was a nice sunny day. I can see why people enjoy it, because for me, I liked it because of the social aspect, and I like getting out, walking these beautiful gardens and grounds and having a little social time after the game. So I can see myself enjoying it sporadically, but not so much focused on the game at all. Like trying to get a certain par under, or, you know, a hole in one doesn't thrill me. But, you know, for the social aspect and all the walking, I thought it was really nice. The other thing that we got to do in the last couple of weeks that passed that have not been mentioned in previous, I guess, videos that I dropped, is we made our way back to the Woodland Garden Festival. That is a privately owned lot of land, which I think is maybe half an acre or something, quite large. And they open it up twice a year for artisans to go in there and sell their wares, you know, a bit of a festival. They raise money for, I believe it's the fire and rescue. So the donations that we gave to enter the space were for that cause. And there were lots of artisans from wood carving, potters, ceramics, there were painters, there was some wool fiber artists as well that we met, and obviously I had to stop and talk about what their stores held, and you know, what their good sellers were, all that wonderful stuff. And that was a great day. It was sunshiny, and yeah, so we went with Chad and his mum, and that was a good outing. Okay, now we're going to turn to Pixel, our puppy. She celebrated her 2nd year of life on March the 28th. So Pixel and I are both Aries. And Sometimes she's brave, sometimes she's not so brave. Just a little window into her life is that we were out on a walk and Pixel was still on her leash. We hadn't quite made it into the trails where she could be off leash. So we had to go through a little school to get to the off leash area. There was another dog that was already off leash and was coming up to Pixel. It was quite strange because the dog was actually playing with another dog. So I don't know whether this one was being overprotective. It was a female dog. My Pixel also is a female dog. And it came up. The owner was kind of like meters behind, just curious to see how the dog was going to react. And Pixel was like, we were making eye contact with the owner saying like, our dog's friendly, waiting for a response from the owner to see what the results were, whether this dog was friendly or not. So anyway, there was no kind of like feedback or anything. So we thought, well, the dog must be friendly because it's coming and there's no concern, obviously. So when the dog got to Pixel and us as a group, it was aggressive and it wanted to take a big chunk out of Pixel. So we managed to kind of like separate the dogs, but it was hard because the one was off leash and our one was on a leash and all that stuff. So then the owner obviously saw something was up, so she came to pull her dog away from ours, and we took her number and name, and she was gracious enough, or understood that we needed to contact her if something was happened to Pixel later down the way, because there have been instances that I've heard of that when dogs have been bitten, there might not be any signs on the surface, but then 3 days later there's a big weld of like infectious pus, and it needs to be drained because of the bite being infected or opening the skin. But she was fine. She's fine now. There was no penetration, there was no like puncturing of the skin, so that was good. Cross fingers that nothing else is going to show up. It was only about 4 days ago. So that was her first brush with an unfriendly dog. And she hasn't been scarred by it, I think, because she's met up with other dogs and continues to be really friendly and bouncy and kind of like approachable, which is wonderful. It hasn't ruined her personality in any way. And she's gearing up to get her summer cut because she's hyperallergenic. Her hair continues to grow, and right now it's probably a good 3 inches long, and it needs to have the summer trim so that she can be nice and airy and feel cool, because our days are getting warmer. Well, when I say that, it's like the highs right now is, if we're lucky, 20 degrees Celsius, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, maybe 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know, that's guessing. And so it's mild, it's not too hot, but we will get to warmer days. So we're just advancing it and getting her hair cut on Saturday, so she'll look like a new puppy. So that's catching up with Pixel and what she's been up to. She's doing very well. I hope that you're doing well, and that if you celebrate Pride, that you have some fun things in store. I have not thought about a Pride project right yet, but I think when I finish my Light and Breezy hobby campaign shawl that I'm working on right now, I'll probably pick up something that's colorful and work on it through the course of the while that it takes me to make something in bright rainbow colors. So it might be sometime in July when I finish work. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do yet, so more on that to come. With that, I will catch you up later, and I hope you're doing well and have a great week. I'll see you in the next show. All right, bye.